Hello, my name is Gabriela Soto Duconje. This is my presentation for Human Growth and Development on Facts Across the Lifespan. Module 1, the field of human development. What we know about human development determines the way we treat people and make rules in society. For example, the way we determine a school day's length is based on a child's age, and the way we determine punishments for offenders is also based slightly on their age. Sigmund Freud was a neurologist and psychiatrist, mainly known for developing psychoanalysis. He founded it. He had a theory on the three components of personality, which was that the first component is the id, which is what seeks gratification of basic needs and contains basic emotions. The second component was the ego, which is responsible for contact with day to day reality. The third component was the superego, which controls and overrides the id's attempt to express basic drives in ways that are socially unacceptable. This is part of the social and emotional developmental domain. Module 2, the dawn of development. Prenatal development is said to occur in three periods, which do not correspond with the trimesters. The trimesters occur in periods of 3 months. These three periods are based on biological milestones instead of months. The first period is the germinal period, which occurs from conception to 2 weeks. The second period is the embryonic period, which occurs from 3 to 8 weeks. And the third period is the fetal period, which occurs from 9 weeks until childbirth. Certain diseases can be transmitted to the developing child through the placenta or during delivery. The severity of the disease depends on when the child contracts the disease. So this may be early on in development, later in development, or during childbirth. One example of this that is the best known is German measles or rubella. This relates to the physical developmental domain. Module 3, Infancy. Young infants have not yet developed object permanence, which is the understanding that something continues to exist even though it is hidden or removed from sight. For this reason, they enjoy peekaboo because they're not yet understanding that the person hiding behind the hands is still there. Explicit memories are memories of which we are conscious, such as something that happened a week ago or a year ago. Implicit memories are unconscious memories that influence our behavior. So, understanding how to drive a car is an implicit memory because it's not something you're consciously thinking about. The parts of the brain that allow for these memories mature at different times, as we are born with implicit memories, but explicit memories seem to form around 6 to 8 months. This relates to Paget's cognitive developmental theory and information processing theories. Module 4, Early Childhood. Most brain growth during early childhood takes the form of weight gain. In early childhood, the most significant changes in the body occur in the brain and central nervous system. By age 3, the brain has attained about 75% of its total adult weight, and by age 6, it's attained almost 90% of it. Most children will know whether they're left handed or right handed by the age of 4. A study was done on a population of 512 4-year-olds. Of them, 41 were left handed, and only 23 were lacking definite hand preferences. This relates to physical growth and brain specialization in early childhood, which is what determines handedness. Module 5, Middle Childhood. Growth slows down in middle childhood compared to infancy and early childhood. In infancy and early childhood, children grow rapidly. However, middle childhood is often considered the least dramatic and slowest of any stage in the lifespan. The one exception to this is the growth spurt that occurs right before puberty, typically. In this stage of life, children will usually enjoy better health than preschoolers. This is often due to immunizations, which prevent them from contracting any serious diseases. Children in this stage of life will often get less serious diseases such as the common cold. This relates to physical growth and physical illness in middle childhood. Module 6, Adolescence. Across one's early childhood and adolescence, temperament shows substantial stability. This means that a child that was born shy or was shy as a toddler may continue to be a shy person as a teenager. Temperament is thought to be the way a person reacts to the world. Piaget deemed adolescence the period of formal operations. During this period, they're increasingly able to use logic and reasoning. Adolescents become capable of thinking hypothetically, which means thinking in the abstract, of using deductive reasoning, which is beginning with the big picture, and inductive reasoning as well, which is beginning with specific details to reach conclusions and solve problems. This relates to both the physical and social emotional developmental domains and Piaget's cognitive developmental theory and emotional development. Module 7, Early Adulthood. As one becomes an adult, the risk of heart disease rises. The cardiovascular system and hearts become more sluggish at pumping blood. The risk of hypertension rises as one ages. Personality types appear to play a role in stress levels and health. A type A person is twice as likely as a type B person to experience heart attacks and coronary heart disease. They're also more likely to experience higher stress hormone levels and higher cholesterol. This relates to the physical developmental domain. Module 8, Middle Adulthood. One theory on aging suggests that over time, errors in the DNA genetic code accumulate and cause cell death. This is called the cellular clock theory. This happens because as cells experience more reproductions over time, errors occur in the DNA chain, and thus, aging may result from an accumulation of these errors. Another theory, the autoimmune responsiveness theory, suggests that the immune system attacks the body as the person ages. The efficiency of the body's defense system in protecting tissues against disease declines as people grow older. Module 9, Late Adulthood. Reading decline is common in older adults, and this is thought to be caused by a decline in inhibition, according to the inhibitory deficit theory. Inhibition is what allows a person to focus on relevant information and ignore the irrelevant facts. Older adults who are lacking in inhibition may get distracted by irrelevant info. For many adults, semantic memory, which is the ability to recall concepts and general facts that are not related to specific experiences, continues to improve. This type of memory includes knowledge of language and vocabulary. This relates to the cognitive developmental domain. Module 10, The Dusk of Life. The mourning process is thought to involve 4 different tasks that must be addressed before closure can occur. The 4 tasks are accepting that the loss is real. This is important because denial is very common when someone passes away. And this is the reason why doctors will very bluntly tell a person when someone has died, so the loved ones can accept the fact. The other 3 tasks are suffering through the emotional turmoil and misery of grief, adapting to daily life without the deceased, and redirecting the emotional energy to a new and viable relationship. Personality types can also influence the overall grief process. For example, those who have a dependent personality and typically rely on significant others are more vulnerable to a difficult grief reaction than others. This relates to the social emotional developmental domain. And that is all. Thank you very much. The references I used were the textbook from slides 1 to 11. In slide 5, I used a research article on motor skills in 4-year-olds. In slide 7, I used a research article on temperament in adolescents. And in slide 10, I used an article on understanding aging brains.